Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be looking back at the predictions I made at the start of the season and seeing how right or wrong I was and what my updated predictions are for the end of this season. Don't worry, at the end of the season when I come back to look at them, I will be going on my original predictions. I'm not going to back out of them, and some of them I have got massively wrong, and I think a lot of people would have as well. Before I get into the video, I just want to say a big shout out to our sponsors, OneFootball. With the transfer window coming up, there's nothing better you can do than download the app, because all the latest transfer news will be on there, including social media gossip, and you can take a look at the players that your clubs are interested in. Link is down in the description if you do want to download that, but without further ado, let's get straight into the video. If you'd like to check out the original video of my predictions, I will leave a link in the description where you can go and see that, and I'll put it in the end screen also. Without further ado, we're going to the bottom three predictions, and they're not too bad. They're not too bad. We've got Reading, QPR and Rotherham, which was my predictions. The only one of those three that aren't in the bottom three are QPR. Now QPR are having a much better season than I expected them to, and probably they expected under Steve McLaren. When he first joined, I thought it was a bit of a dodgy managerial signing. I thought he'd do okay, but not this good. They're currently sat joint 7th with Birmingham City, just ahead of them on goal difference. But fair play to him, and fair play to Steve McLaren, because I completely written him off. You know, I don't think QPR are going to hit the playoffs exactly, but they're going to do much better than I expected at the start of the season. I'd probably say they still go top half. So the bottom three currently sits as Rotherham, Reading and Ipswich Town. I had Ipswich Town finishing 20th, but I do think they're going to go down this season. They're rock bottom with 15 points from 25 games, and I can't really see them getting out of it. You know, stranger things have happened, so it's not down and out for them, but I don't think they have what it takes to pull themselves out. I think sacking Mick McCarthy, it was probably the right time to do so, but I think the fans didn't appreciate what he was doing for the club and how he was sort of overachieving with them. But it had soured, and he did have to go. Clearly the replacement hadn't been doing as well as they'd hoped. You know, they signed a lot of lower league players and they haven't yet stepped up to the plate properly. Reading and Rotherham are currently two teams that are predicted to be in the bottom three, that are currently in the bottom three, but I'm not entirely certain that they're going to be there at the end of the season. I think Bolton are having a very tricky time at the minute. It depends what happens in January, a lot of this stuff. But I think Bolton really could slip into that bottom three. You know, Bolton recently got a massive win over Rotherham, which was, even at this stage of the season, you consider it a 6-pointer just because of how tight it is down at the bottom. Bolton then followed it up with a draw at Stoke. Their problem has been scoring goals this season, so if they can find someone in January that can get them a couple of goals, I think Bolton could stay up, but that's the big question. Will they do that? Let me know down in the comments if you think they will. But yeah, it's going to be a tricky season for Bolton, but currently they're doing a little bit better. Let's see if they can stay up. If I was going to give a bottom three right now, I think it's going to be Ipswich, Rotherham and Bolton. I think Rotherham won't finish rock bottom again. They're not that team this season. They're not the team that was just the kicking boys of the league, like they were last time they're in this league. But I feel like Bolton can drop into it. I think the only way Bolton stay up this season is possibly if they get someone like Gary Medine in January, possibly on loan. They need a goal scorer at the end of the day. They're the lowest scorers in the entire league, and if they don't resolve that problem, then I think they will go down. But now on to the top 6. Leeds and Norwich currently lead the championship table, with Norwich being the absolute dark horses this season. I thought they were going to do okay. I had them in 10th place, but no way did I think they were going to finish 2nd. Daniel Farke has unveiled an absolute gem in Timu Pukki, who he signed on a free transfer. A free transfer this summer. What a free transfer it's been. I think he's the top leading goal scorer in the league with 16 goals this season. And it's not just him either, but Norwich currently sits 2nd with 48 points. 3 points behind the leaders, Leeds, but can they keep it up until the end of the season? That is the big question. They've got West Brom hot on their heels as well. It's going to be a tough one. Norwich have actually conceded the most goals in the top 8 in the championship at the minute, so that's something that they might have to do. Might have to tighten up at the back a little bit. Can they do something in January? I'm not too sure. I think the pressure is going to come on from the other teams after January. Certain clubs will be able to spend. Will Norwich be able to match that? Will they be able to keep up? I'm not sure. I am not sure. I think as Norwich have started really well, other teams aren't too far behind them. They started a bit slower, but will they gather momentum as they go into 2019? Quite possibly. I'm going to go for Leeds winning the league with West Brom coming in second. Bit of a different one, bit of a surprise one, but I don't want to go with exactly how the league is at the minute. I think things can change, certainly after January, and I think even Aston Villa will be challenging for that top 2 if they can sort out their defence. I know they've just recalled Tommy Elphick back from loan at Hull. He's done really well there. They needed cover at centre-back, and I think once Grealish comes back as well, they'll be a bit of a force. They've got such a good squad on paper that you can't imagine them not pushing for that. I think they'll definitely get top 6, but who knows about top 2. I hate to say it as a Blues fan myself, but you have to look at it realistically. I think Dean Smith's done good things with that club, and hopefully they don't get top 2, but I think they'll be challenging. So the 4 teams that I've got going into the playoffs are Norwich, Villa, Derby and Sheffield United. I feel like Stoke are going to really push for it in the second half of the season, potentially if Rowett gets sacked or they sign some players. But I don't think they're going to get it. I think they're going to miss out, probably finish about 7th or 8th. I've got Middlesbrough to fall out of it. It was tough to decide between Sheffield and Middlesbrough, but I've got a feeling Sheffield are going to have the grit and determination to stay in the top 6. They've been really good this season, and I think this is their season for a chance at the playoffs. I think Derby are good enough to get in the playoffs again this season. Frank Lampard's Derby, of course, as Sky always call it, but they have been incredible this season. Harry Wilson has been unreal. I didn't think Lampard was good enough to get Derby in the playoffs instantly. I think it would take time for him to build his philosophy and everything, but he's hit the ground running, and Derby are looking absolutely incredible this season. You know, even in the cup, they beat Man United as well. They're such an organised unit. But yeah, I think Villa's team on paper is just. They have to get in the playoffs. They have to get promoted, really. With the amount they've spent, they've had another season when they've spent an incredible amount of money bringing talent into the club. The likes of Tammy Abraham, Balassi, players like that, incredible. They have actually done good business though with the likes of John McGinn, signing him for, I believe, 2.5 million. He's an absolute gem for them. But it's the loan signings and the wages they're putting out there that they really have to get promoted. Otherwise, how long can they keep this up? I'm not sure. I don't know how financial fair play works in that sense, because they seem to have been doing it since they got relegated and are still able to. But we'll see what happens if they don't get promoted. My prediction though for who's going to win the playoffs, I'm going to go for Norwich. I think Norwich will get promoted. They will win the playoffs as well. I think they will sort that defence out eventually. My prediction is that they'll get overtaken in terms of the top 2. They'll possibly fall into the playoffs late on. Just because I feel like they can't keep it up all season. But prove me wrong, man. Prove me wrong. I'd love to see them go back up. Part of it is I don't want my predictions to be exactly how it looks now. It would just be boring. I want to just think what could happen. But obviously I could be massively wrong. I always am. But if you enjoyed the video anyway, remember to drop a like on the video. Comment with your predictions for the top 6 and the bottom 3. And subscribe if you are new. But without further ado, have an amazing 2019 and I will see you next year.